Here we are with the display of the, whoops, contents of the, with the decoding of the different short titles. It also tells you where it came from and how many minutes of that I put onto this one. So it's a very short thing here. We give you 30 seconds and then we go on to the next page. And here are numbers 8 through 13. I have trouble reading it on my TV. I hope your TV works better than this one. No commentary, you just hear the furnace running. It's a cold day out here today. You're next going to see one that's different. Good evening. This happens to me in December that I'm doing this. This is a little lecture on DVDs and the movie DVD that I'm sending out to the different family members. These represent what I've selected from all the movie DVDs that I've made. I have found this DVD format to be the best way of seeing these old movies. The old movies, you know, you had to set up the projector. The projector made a lot of noise, and you really, it was inconvenient to do it. And so here, you can just slip it in the DVD machine and look at it on TV. It's much easier. Should also last longer than the film, and it's also quite a bit cheaper, oh, my word, than trying to reproduce movies. Now, on these DVDs, you'll have accompanying description sheets. The original DVD name is called DVD M with a letter for each, and that's what the original set that I made up. The copy DVD number is for the by the ear and the consecutive number, and that's just sort of a holdover from the old VCRs where you had to know how old the tape was in order to tell when it's probably going to life is going to end. And all these reports, of course, were put on a Microsoft Access database. The length for the chapter is given in minutes and seconds. The date for chapter contents is from the earliest date of the original movie reel was taken. Sometimes the reel was spliced and later dates occur in the chapter. Also, it's the date of the reel and not the data that's on becomes the chapter. Contents is generally detailed for the names of the family and gives general location and sometimes gives an activity. Mom and Dad, of course, are Norman C. and Elsie G. Knudsen, and Everett, Laverne, Herbert, Ivan, and Wallace are their children. Now, these were all selected for different groupings based on those what's in the content descriptions, and the computer search was made. I had a total of 12,000 feet of 8mm color film, which is about 16 hours. I made it for the 20 years from 57 to 77 with a Bolex camera that used a 100-foot 16mm reel that was reversed, so when it came back you had 200 feet of 8mm film. From 78 to 84 I used a Sears Super 8mm 50-foot magazine camera, and with auto exposure and a zoom telephoto, a big improvement. But that was, of course, abandoned when my videotape recorder was purchased. You will notice that I'm variable in the amount of movies here because we didn't set the recorder. There, we got it off again. It's 3:40. It should be 5 minutes that it kills itself. Anyway, I skipped some years almost without using the movie camera. Same with my slides, so. Now, in here, the procedure I followed was to make the selection is convert all my movies to this DVD format. And the DVD recorder I purchased inserts the first picture that comes up as the chapter heading. And so you see this in the chapter heading that precedes the actual pictures. And it wasn't until halfway through that I started using the pause button, instead of letting all the sections that were no good to be shown as well. And originally I had, about the first 20 years, I had 3x5 cards of all the different scenes that were in the movies. So I could tell where I wanted to stop the chapter and start it. However, in later years, and a lot of those earlier years, I sort of run on. The beginning of a chapter the end of a chapter will see the beginning of a new one. And the beginning of the new one is not necessarily the chapter you're going to see next, because these are copies from, these are selections from those original DVDs. And so when I had them all digitized, I went to my computer and made a database of the DVD chapters, giving the names of all the persons I recognized in the chapters. And then I used the computer to search for those names so that I could copy those into the DVDs that I'm sending you. And maybe sometime when I get a computer, I will do a better job of copying these DVDs. These DVDs are copied from a replay of them, converted to video and reconverted into digital form. So there's quite a bit of the detail that's washed out in these videos. And so someday you'll get a set. When I get a DVD making computer, I'll be all set. And there's quite a few errors in those original DVDs. The sound that I inserted was through the camera microphone, and so you get a lot of projector noise when it's on. I then started putting a CD source in to provide music instead of nothing, which is what you get with movies. It's kind of boring. But I forgot to have a checklist, so it doesn't always get in. I usually do turn off the projector noise, though. Now, I warn you that 8mm movies are generally out of focus, either at the center or the edge. And I got a little more trouble with the autofocus on my video camera, because it would focus on the scene that was being seen instead of on the screen in the unit. Most of these movies were made with fairly good focus control, and the video camera would swing back and forth trying to catch what was going on in the scene, and it just didn't work until I went to manual control. And there's also the problem that I had feedback of light. I had a TV monitor that was feeding back light into the backlit screen. That didn't help any either. So, and of course there's a lot of variable brightness, because the projector has variable brightness from frame to frame. And of course, lots of times I would forget to set things up properly, and that's it. Ah, yes. The copy chapters abbreviations on the copies are the same as the originals, except when I combined the chapters and then I changed it so that it would have a unique value. And occasionally do a mistake. I'd make 2 copies out of one, so I'd just leave the abbreviation for the same and change the chapter number. The ends of most chapters, I mentioned that already. And a note on the care of these DVDs. Do not, there, that's better. Well, we're going to stop that. Note on care of DVDs. Do not put DVD in CD jewel boxes. The center hole is weaker in DVDs, and they need a special center spindle that's a lot easier on the discs. Containers I'm shipping them in have a special paper that won't scratch the disc. The titles are just written on with a pen on them, since if you use a label, it has to be put on very accurately because the high spin rates can cause trouble in recorders, so I just avoid them. I thank you for listening to 9 minutes of talk, and I don't know whether this was useful or not, but you got it. Thank you. And now if I can find my control, where is it? Down here underneath my papers, that's where it is. We'll turn it off.